So I want to show you within my property Xero, and now this could be to do with sole traders or landlords, it applies to the same, and I want to start getting you into thinking about spotting errors and fixing them within Xero. So it's all very well, we might be in the reconcile option and we're pressing the button, we're pressing yes, reconcile, pressing OK, and then we're like, oh man, we've made a mistake. So I'm going to show you a couple of quick things today is how, for example, if oh my goodness, I've clicked that button and I've accidentally reconciled something when I wasn't ready to, how we can pull that back. But also I'm going to show you how to bulk adjust things as well. I was talking in another video about mistakes in tracking categories, things that weren't assigned. So we're going to have a look at that as well. So let's fix that mistake I've just made. So if I just go into account transactions, and you're confronted with all of this. Now, I happen to remember it was £302, and there's not a huge number of transactions that actually go through this Xero. So I can just click it and press remove and redo. What remove and redo does is it will push it back onto that reconcile screen. So it's actually relatively easy. What about if we were looking at our profit and loss? So I'm a huge advocate of a process called review. So if you've read my book, Making Tax Digital Without the Panic, you'll have seen that I talk about this review stage and why it's really, really important to kind of review your numbers before you submit to HMRC. So what I always advocate for is you go into reporting and you're running that profit and loss account. I always think it's a good idea if this menu hasn't popped up, bring this up and you can look at the previous 3-month comparables. I'm a little bit behind on my bookkeeping with this business. I've deliberately not done December because that's an example for another day where I've got a huge repair on that property. So I want to have a look at that in a separate video. But one of the kind of the cool things that we've obviously got is we've got things like tracking categories here. But what I might be doing is during that review process, going, whoa, hang on, what's this £20 for IT and software consumables? What I might do is change my reporting slightly so I can maybe have a look at a slightly different date range or different months. And I'm like, whoa, this £20 is continuing. I can't, why would something be going there? Now I can click on these numbers. This is the lovely thing of Xero. And I can go, let's have a look in here. That's my accountancy firm that I'm paying £20. That's clearly not IT and software. And I'm like, oh no. But hang on a minute, that's going back for every single month. So if I look at the year-to-date figures, I've put it in the wrong place, haven't I? By the way, I haven't actually done this. I've created this problem just for this video today. So before you think I'm a bit of a dunce. So what we need to do next is to think about how we can fix this problem. So the simplest way to do it, and I'm going to show you a much faster way than this. If it's a one-off problem, what we can do is I need to just go in, I'll click on that particular thing, and I'll go options here. I can remove and redo it and send it all the way back to the reconcile screen, but I wouldn't necessarily do that. It's just in the wrong place currently. So I'd edit the transaction and I can change the account that it's going to. And obviously what it should be going to is audit and accountancy. And then I can just update the transaction. What I find particularly useful in Xero is, annoyingly, it's taken me to the reconcile screen once I've pressed update, and I was actually in reports, in that profit and loss report. So quite often I find it easy, as I'm on a Mac, where you can press command and it'll open you up a separate tab, and I'll do my adjustment on there. Once I'm finished with it, I'll then close that tab and come back to where I was. It's quite useful. Having said that, we've got loads of transactions of this IT and software consumables. It's going to take us ages to fix those problems. So let's have a quick look. And what we do is there's a bulk option to sort this out called Find and Recode. You find it in the accounting menu. Just click on Find and Recode. I'm going to click that Find and Recode button there, and I'm going to add a condition. So what I'm going to say is, look, I want to look at all the transactions that are in IT and software consumables, and I'm going to run a search on them. There they all are. And the great thing is I can just click that button there. I can click Recode, and then I can basically send them all to audit and accountancy fees, press confirm, and within a couple of seconds, it's done, basically. So don't panic if you've made a mistake. It happens to us all. And now if I run that profit and loss account again and just run exactly the same, the kind of periods of time, we can see straight away that it's obviously IT and software consumables have now disappeared, and it's landing in the audit and accountancy section of Xero. So that's a problem resolved. The final issue that I want to just talk to you about as well is to do with the tracking categories. I was talking in another video about how you deal with unassigned things. So if we're using tracking categories, everything should be tracked. And it's why I use, in this example, office costs. So this is to do with rental properties. So these are all the abbreviations of my rental property. Now, if you're a sole trader, you could be tracking trucks, you could be tracking offices, you could be tracking, but there's always stuff that doesn't fit into a tracking category. So I use this office costs nominal. That means that anything that's gone into unassigned is someone's made a mistake. Someone's not grabbed that item. So if I add that filter and rerun the report, we can actually see some mistakes that I've made deliberately. We've obviously audit and accountancy, very interesting. That probably would go into the office costs nominal, and it probably needs moving to that office costs nominal, and the same with the interest paid. Now, I know that that's all one property, so if I can click on that interest paid nominal, and it's exactly the same process as before, is I can just go and edit that transaction, and I can just put the tracking category in there as 33. So all I do is I press update. So I fixed it. But again, with tracking categories, we can use the find and recode feature. So if I go into there again, you'll see I've got the tracking category of properties there. And then I can just go basically say, actually, could you show me all the unassigned items? And then it will allow me to go through, and I'll be able to allocate those things. So, for example, all of my accountancy fees, for example, they should have gone to office costs. I'm not going to do them all, but what I would do is want to reassign. Now you click on to recode them, and you're like, hang on a minute, there's no tracking category. You actually have to press this add button, and then I can add my tracking category there. And then all of a sudden it becomes available. I press review and I press confirm. Anytime that you're doing any adjustments in your Xero, it's a review. And again, I talk about this in the book, is that you review once, find the problems, and then once you fix them all, you go and do another review. That another review might result in you making some more adjustments and doing a third review. But what I'm just trying to get you in the habit of is, let's look at those numbers. Let's get into that profit and loss and actually understand what we're submitting to HMRC and whether it's right or whether it's wrong. And this is a good example. This is live data that we're looking at. That I'm not having a very successful year. I need to get my bookkeeping up to date. That's the first thing. But I've had just a tremendous number of expenses on this particular property that I run through this Xero. I've got a bit of a complicated life when it comes to properties, with having a lot of stuff moved into my property company. So and actually I've got very few properties nowadays held personally, other than this kind of one that runs through here, which is why you might be looking and going, hang on, the tracking category is more or less the same as the overall figures, and that's more or less it. If I run it on the tracking category, you can start seeing actually how that property's performing. So it's probably not that property that's causing the loss, basically. But yeah, you get the idea. So what I would suggest your next watch would be on, in terms of video, is having a look at some of the more sort of details of how you might do the Xero reconciliation. And I'll try and flash that up on screen now, so you can actually have a look and start really getting to grips with Xero. I've got other videos coming down the line as well to do with actually how do we make the submission and some of those submission checks that we need to be doing as well. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Right, bye.